I want to go back to time blocking.
Yep.
Because, you've been in the business long enough to know that so many brokers and LOs struggle with this because they have so many plates they're trying to juggle at the same time.
Right.
Why does time blocking matter so much in this business?
You know what? You either control your time or time controls you, right? It's as simple as that. So you have to have a game plan in place because, there's so many distractions out there, especially in the mortgage business. You want to be on the offense all the time, right? Yet you want to have a plan in place that you're going to go out there, do the right thing so you continue to bring in the business on a consistent basis because you want to have, your support staff, your loan partners, loan officer assistants, your processors, doing all that work to get the files to the finish line. You're a salesperson, right? As a LO, you have to continually bring in business and you don't want to be on, that famous loan officer roller coaster where you kill it one month and you're all in your files and next month your production goes crash.
Welcome back to Good Better Broker as we bring in Darren Copeland. He is the president and CEO of Summit Lending based in Kansas City. DC, yes. Great to see you.
Man, thanks for having me. This is so awesome to always be in this studio and hanging out with you, man. Thank you.
Well, we love seeing you, and you're one of our favorites. A little bit about you for our listeners. 20 plus years in the industry. You're a top 40 broker in the country. Summit Lending has grown like crazy. You've got over 50 LOs now. I remember when it was closer to 10. So kudos to you guys for everything that you've done. In DC, over the past couple of years, you've gotten very active in coaching groups. You love giving back to the broker community. We love to see that. And that ties into our topic for this conversation, and that is living in your green zone. So I want you to explain that to our listeners. What does that mean to live in your green zone?
Right. So we talk about green zone, right? We're big sports fans. It's not the red zone and scoring touchdowns, right? So the green zone is your money-making activities, right? And what I tell people all the time is on average, your average LO does about 1 hour a week in terms of marketing, like pure marketing, going out there, try to build their business. And that's just simply not enough, right? So it's all about time blocking, Justin. So your green zone is your money-making activities Monday through Friday, because if you just think about it, if your money-making activities like from 8 to 10 in the morning, and you do that 5 days a week, you're 10 times the average LO going out there in terms of what their marketing is. So just think about if you do that for 90 days straight, how that's going to change. And I know we're going to get into like specifics and what that looks like and everything like that, but really this comes from my 20 years of being in coaching groups and coaching like that, taking bits and pieces from all these different great minds and then kind of just combining it into our own program, if you will. And what I tell people all the time, if you just follow the Green Zone program, there's literally no way that you can fail in business.
All right. I need to ask you where you came up with this, or where did you first learn about the green zones and why it would play a big role in your success?
So this is a funny story. 20-some years ago, I'm 6 months into the business and a former athlete, and I knew I needed a coach, right? Everyone needs a coach. Heck, even Patrick Mahomes needs Andy Reid, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to hire a coach, just get in the business, didn't have the money, right? But I was like, heck with it. There's these things called 0% credit cards. So I charged my coaching on this, and the first coach that I had, he was amazing, and he was so good at accountability. And he was like, hey, DC, in a very loving way, he said, if you don't get a freaking plan together, you're going to burn out and you're going to crash and burn in this business and you're not going to amount to anything. And I was like, oh, okay. Here I am. I'm paying all this money to this coach, but he's speaking a word of truth to me because he really wants me to go out there and succeed. And I'm like, okay. So that's where it started, is like, hey, I'm paying for coaching. Here's accountability. And I really need to follow through on this.
It's a great point. And we've heard that from guests in the past, that you have to have a plan.
Yep.
So I'm glad to see that you have followed through on that. And I want to go back to time blocking.
Yep.
Because, you've been in the business long enough to know that so many brokers and LOs struggle with this because they have so many plates they're trying to juggle at the same time.
Right.
Why does time blocking matter so much in this business?
You know what? You either control your time or time controls you. Right? It's as simple as that. So you have to have a game plan in place because, there's so many distractions out there, especially in the mortgage business. You want to be on the offense all the time, right? Yet you want to have a plan in place that you're going to go out there, do the right thing so you continue to bring in the business on a consistent basis, because you want to have, your support staff, your loan partners, loan officer assistants, your processors, doing all that work to get the files to the finish line. You're a salesperson, right? As a LO, you have to continually bring in business, and you don't want to be on, that famous loan officer roller coaster where you kill it one month and you're all in your files, and next month your production goes crash, right? So it's laser focused to make sure that you never miss a beat, because at the end of the day, it's all about bringing in revenue. So that's why we coined the phrase green zone, money. That is your money making time. And you know what? You have to guard it like no one's business, right? Even to this day, my wife, who's our operations manager, I still have to remind her on occasion, hey, this is green zone. We'll talk about this later. And that goes over swimmingly, by the way. That goes over amazing. But time block it no matter what. And the key that I want some of these folks, as they're taking notes as they listen to this, is when you start off on your day, have your morning routine going. I'm very big on morning routine. So get your exercise in, get your readings in, whatnot. But whatever you do not dive into your email. Do not dive into those other distractions. Go straight into your script of your green zone and what you're going to do that day. And then later on in the day, you can let the rest of the day come to you.
All right. I want to go back to something you said about being on offense, because to me, the opposite of that is being reactionary.
Right.
Why is it important to maintain a mentality of being on offense?
So being on offense is just, you want to make sure that you're planning your day and someone else isn't planning the day for you. Right? You want to make sure that you have your objectives out there, whether it's meeting with real estate agents, doing a podcast, doing all these things that are going to drive business for you. Whether you're social media, there's so many things, and we can talk about that here in a little bit, but it's so important for you to have a game plan. It's kind of like going to the gym. You decide the night before that you're going to the gym the next morning, right? You just don't wake up in the morning and go, am I going to go to the gym or not? Probably not, right? It's the same thing in business and sales. You have to have a plan and know exactly what you're going to do. And honestly, there's other coaching groups, they call it the general's tent. And one of my favorite things to do is on a Sunday, maybe a Sunday night, it's 20 or 30 minutes. And man, I am scripting my week, 2 weeks, have it all scripted out over the next couple of weeks. So when you wake up the next morning, you're never guessing what you're supposed to do.
The general's tent. I like that saying.
Yeah.
When it comes to creating your own green zone, DC,
Yep.
You told me that you need to know who your targets are. How do you figure that out?
So great question, Justin. So there's a couple of really good programs out there. One's MMI, one's Redder, some really good friends at Redder. That's RETR. And there's another one out there. Model Match is another good one. So you kind of need to be like a Navy SEAL. You need to know exactly who you're going after. So what that allows is you can, sign up for one of these systems. Let's say you sign up for Redder, and you can go in and you can see which real estate agents are worth going after, right? You will need to set a standard of like, hey, I want to go after realtors that are doing at least 6 to 8 home buyer sides every single year. Joseph Wheat will love this. We try to stay away from the struggle bunnies, Justin, and it's nothing against anyone, but you have to be laser targeted and go after the targets that you want to create relationships with, right? That are going to feed your family at the end of the day. So you need to know who your targets are. So that helps, as terms of people that you're going after, if you're having events, things like that. Go after the people who are actually selling real estate.
Okay, so once you identify those targets, let's get into conversations. And you believe that success in this business can be measured by the number of quality conversations that you have.
Right.
Why?
Exactly. You know what? I was speaking yesterday here at UWM, and I tell people all the time, when you start kindergarten, you're starting your network. Like literally, your friends. Especially if you're going into sales and you take a look back at it. I mean, I literally just did a loan for a guy that I went to first grade with, right? It's just crazy stuff, right? So your network is huge. So going back to the conversation piece that's part of the green zone. Like you need to know exactly how many conversations am I going to have in this 2-hour period, right? Like how many of my existing realtors do I need to touch base with? Who are some of the listing agents that I need to touch base with? And just make those relationships. Because at the end of the day, the loan officer who has the most friends wins. Right? And you have to have as many friends as possible because, if you have a monetary relationship with a real estate agent, let's say you're sponsoring things with them, that's cool and everything. But unless you're truly friends and you take it deep, that's where the magic happens. Because also we just did this. We bought a huge group of real estate agents up here, and it's so cool to see the dynamic because the ones who are your friends they're talking to the other real estate agents and they're selling you on why Darren Copeland's such a great loan officer or owner at Summit Lending. It's a really cool dynamic to see.
All right, so we know that your Rolodex is vast since you're doing loans for people that you were in first grade with. But I think for some of our listeners, they're wondering, well, how do I figure out how many referral partners I need? It goes beyond just network and connections. They're talking about just straight up referral partners.
Right.
How do you go about figuring that out?
Really, you just have to have an honest conversation with you and be like, how many units do I want to close a month? And then you just reverse engineer it, right? So let's say if someone wants to close 5 units a month, you really need to have at least 10 realtor relationships that's going to send you a closed deal every other month, right? And then you can just extrapolate that and be like, okay, well, I want to close 10. All right, well, now you need to have at least 15 to 20 referral partners that are going to send you a deal every other month, or know that, hey, I have X amount of realtors that I can count on getting this many closed loans a month. And then I know from my past database and my sphere of influence, I'm going to get this amount. And that way you can come up with your game plan. But what's interesting, going back to, the coaching and being in different coaching groups over the years and being a coach myself, as a loan officer, you have to have a really cool conversation with yourself because we all lie to each other, right? On different things, right? As salespeople, we can sell ourselves on different things at all times, right? You just need to have a really cool conversation with yourself and be like, what do you really want and where do I want to be? And never compare yourself to other people. Only compare yourself to where you were 30 days ago, 60 days ago, which is huge in this business because, with social media and podcasts and things like that, people are always trying to compare themselves to other people. Dude, just be you.
It's so hard to do, but you're right. It's a great point. Not just in this business, but in life and society in general.
Right.
But I'm glad you brought up social media because back to your point about the LO who has the most friends wins.
Yep.
How does this apply to social media and those all important online reviews?
Right. So, when I was speaking yesterday, part of the speech was, it's not about us. You have to make about other people, right? So you have to do really cool stuff. People really don't want to hear about what your rates are or programs and things like that. They really don't. They want to know what's in it for them. So come up with really cool stuff. Like, we were just talking before we went on air. We did an amazing giveaway, in our office. We gave a framed Travis Kelce jersey. We had hundreds of entries and people went nuts over that. Right. And, it was really crazy because, it doesn't matter what city you're in or who you cheer for or whether it's college or NFL football, but man, for someone to enter a contest to win a jersey that's signed that they wouldn't buy for themselves, they went bonkers. And I told you, like when we got the winner, she teared up and I instantly went and I got 5 more jerseys. So we're going to have a bunch more of these coming out. So again, when it comes to social media, you just need to give it, make it about them. And especially when it comes to real estate agents as well, make it about them of how you can help their business. What value do you bring to them? 'Cause it's very easy to make it about us, right? You just have to push it back and make it all about them.
It doesn't hurt, by the way, that you're giving away the jersey of the guy that's also Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Kansas City, when are you guys going to catch a break?
I know it's a rough time.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's like being a Patriots fan was 10 years ago for me. But
exactly.
That's neither here nor there.
Yes.
You actually created a tracker for this,
yes.
for the green zones, and you sent it to me, and I loved it. And I want you to explain to our listeners exactly what goes into the tracker.
Okay, so the tracker, and I coined the phrase DC's playbook, right? So I took all these bits and pieces that I learned over the years from the coaching groups, and literally Monday through Friday, I scripted out exactly what everyone needs to do, like how many phone calls you need to make to your current agents that you have relationships, how many calls you need to reach out to agents that you're going after, your past database, how many in-persons every single week. You need to meet with at least 12 to 15 people face to face every single week. And that doesn't mean you have to have an individual coffee, an individual lunch, because as a high producer, there's only so much time that you can do that. But you can go present at a team meeting for 15 real estate agents, and that takes care of those 15 people right there. So again, you just have to be out there front and center so people know. You could be the best loan officer in the world, but unless people know it, they're not going to come find you.
I love the tracker because to me, it sounds great. to live in your green zone and to say, okay, I'm going to time block 1 or 2 hours to do these things every day. But when you have that tracker, to me, that's what creates accountability for this.
It is like literally the tracker, and it goes through. And I even brought a little cheat sheet here.
Yeah, see, you got it there.
So everything, and you mentioned Google reviews earlier. We're huge on Google reviews, so it tells you exactly how many Google reviews you need to do, how many applications you need to do, how many prequals, and it's just an accountability. So if you're having a great week and you're killing it, you can look at your tracker and be like, oh yeah, I'm absolutely slaying it. And then let's say if you're having an off week, because some days are better than others, right? You might be off a little bit, so you can have a day or two that that you can have time to catch up.
With the way you've grown and bringing in new LOs over the past couple of years, what kinds of feedback have you gotten from them once they start to apply some of these principles to their business, the green zones, and how it helps them grow their individual businesses?
Well, I think the biggest thing is everyone, if you haven't been in coaching, no one's really given you the guidebook or the playbook, if you will, to go out there and have success. So for them to actually have a game plan to go out there, it's game changing, right? Because our philosophy at Summit Lending is remove all barriers so you can literally just go out there and sell. Right? Because, you don't want to be knee deep in files or babysitting those or anything like that. But we know what works and there's a game plan to do it. You just have to put in the work. Right? You have to go make relationships. You have to get your Google reviews. You have to be in front of the agents. You have to be in the right arena where people are going to send you business. And it's just a friendly reminder, right? We're all humans. How many movies have you seen or how many books have you read that you're like, oh, I missed that, right? Or that's a great reminder. This is the same thing, but it's just front and center for them.
All that said, DC, if you get pushback from somebody who says, listen, this sounds great, but if I get an email at 8:53 in my green zone time, let's just say it ends at 9 a.m. What's wrong with me jumping into my inbox just to check that one email?
Yeah. Well, the great thing is when you're a green zone, you have your email off. Yeah. You shut everything's off, right? You shut off the distractions and excuse me, if you don't need to be on the phone, if you're not doing things, one of the big things that I'm big on is doing gratitude videos where you do a quick 30-second gratitude video. You send it to past clients or you send it to some of your buddies or some of your real estate referral partners and just let them know from the heart. You can't be fake, right? From the heart, and be gratitude, be like, hey, I am so grateful for you. I love working with you. I just need 10 more realtors just like you in my life and it would be amazing, right? Like make them feel good, but it comes from the heart. But if you're not using your phone during the green zone to do things like that, have that thing off.
I think this concept is great, not just in this business, because when you were just talking, it kind of reminds me of the importance of family time too. Like if you time block for your kids, for your wife, for your spouse, whatever the case may be, think about the impact of that. If you're able to actually spend 1 hour away from technology, away from your phone, away from devices, just think about the impact that can have. So I love this concept. I think it's great. And we really appreciate the fact that you were able to share it with our audience. So
absolutely,
keep up the great work. Hope the Chiefs can finally catch a break one of these days, man.
It's rough.
I mean, with Mahomes and Kelsey and the Taylor Swift thing,
right? Man, maybe we'll be talking about the Royals Tigers. You never know, man.
And maybe that elusive Chiefs Lions Super Bowl that we're all dreaming of.
That would be epic.
We shall see.
Let's go.
Darren Copeland from Summit Lending. Always great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate being here.
Thank you for watching Good Better Broker and helping us support independent mortgage brokers everywhere. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified about new videos, as well as your preferred podcast platform for a new episode every other Tuesday.